Today we're going to take a look at deploying Nutanix Files natively in AWS. This is exciting if you have edge use cases or your private data centers. Not only can you move the data with Nutanix Files, you can use our product Nutanix Move to quickly move your data into AWS, landing it on Nutanix Files, where you can pick a variety of t-shirt sizes to host your data. The EBS volumes that we're using to backend for high performance can grow automatically for you. And we're also going to set an aggressive tiering policy to S3 right out of deployment. Let's go take a look. Our deployment of native AWS files has a subnet called native files where our EC2 images will be deployed. We have an S3 endpoint in place to provide private connectivity to S3, and our EBS volumes are going to be deployed in the same availability zone as our subnet, which is being used for the EC2 images. You have connectivity back to on-prem, so if you're deploying this with your Prism Central on-prem, your security groups will be set up on the file server to allow this traffic through. Let's get into the deployment. We're logged into our Prism Central. We're going to go to the Files menu, which has already been enabled. We need to first add a cloud account to our setup to get access to the EC2 images. So we'll give our account a name. Now we've already created and have the right IAM policy. We might be using something that is a bit more powerful than needed using administrator account. We'll have our access key, copy and paste it in. And we're just going to add the region that we're going to deploy into. So we're deploying into East 2. Hit add. We show connected. Now we can actually do our deployment into AWS. Tech preview, AWS, our region that we only listed the one. So we're going to deploy into US 2C. It's where we have our networking set up with the public and private route table already in place and internet access. So Acme East 2, and then our file server version. Hit proceed. Now we give our file server a name, domain, how many terabytes that we want to deploy with. We could always increase this later. We will deploy a 3-node cluster or file server, and then you can pick your environment. So we'll just go with the smallest for the demo, hit next. And now our networking will have this native file. So this is a native AWS subnet that has already been pre-created, hit next. DNS servers, we'll use Google for time. This key pair has already been added as well. We're going to select our IAM role. And then we're not going to enable encryption on the EBS volumes, but that is something that you can totally do. Hit next. We'll get a nice little readout of our deployment. We'll hit create. While that's creating, we can go look at the AWS side and see the resources as they're spinning up. The tasks have been kicked off, and now we can flop over to AWS. So we're in our Ohio regions. We'll go to instances. We can see our 3-node files cluster up and running. If we click on one of them, we can see that it has our private IP address. If you go to security, you can see that it gets deployed with its own security group. By default, it will add in rules for Prism Central that we have listed here. And if we go back on the storage side, we can see that it's added EBS volumes for our workload. We'll go back into our Prism Central and wait for the deployment to finish up. Looks like our file server has finished up deploying. Now we can go take a look at it, go back to our Files menu. If we go into Configuration under Platform, you can see that you can change the number of file server VMs at any time. You can bring this to 4 and expand out, and you're also able to change the instance type. So we could also change out the cluster instance if we needed something a bit more powerful. And that's how easy it is to get native files up and running in AWS. Quick and easy to deploy Nutanix files natively in AWS, reduce the risk and migration times of getting your data into AWS, and start using all of those cloud services. We'll see you in the next video.